Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for second installation of our technology update series for Evolving Solutions. Appreciate you joining us today. For those of you that may be on the phone that I don't know, my name is Bo Gebbe. I'm Vice President of Evolving Solutions and have been here at the company for a little over 3.5 years. And again, wanted to thank you for joining us today. And I'll introduce our guest, Ed Walsh, here in just a couple of minutes. For those of you that may be new to the Evolving Solutions ecosystem or just need a little bit of refresher on our organization, just want to share a couple of updates for you. For those of you, like I said, that may not know us or may not have been working with us for quite a while, Evolving Solutions is a technology solutions provider that works with clients throughout the entire United States and in many cases in several countries around the world. We really focus on the modernization and automation of clients' mission-critical applications and infrastructure. Digital transformation is often an overused word, so we really talk about business transformation, but really, helping clients accelerate no matter where they are on their journey. We really focus on what I call modern operations, and we'll talk about that here in the next chart. But we view the world in a lens around hybrid cloud, and we really talk about this of some key components. At the base of that, modern platforms. We're going to talk a lot about that today as Ed joins us to talk about storage and software defined. And then we spend a lot of time as an organization with our clients, with our team, really talking about modern operations. And the whole notion there is, we are all being asked to not only run our core business or our legacy businesses and platforms and applications, but how do we go invest in the future and really drive the transformation? We're all being tasked with that, but none of us are getting double the staff or double the budgets. And so we really focus within modern operations on how do we make sure clients, are putting workloads in the right place? How do we focus on data management and business continuity and backup? How do we leverage automation and orchestration to, remediate basic tasks or remediate tasks that then free up time for employees and technology folks to go do what's more important for their business? And then obviously security underpins all of that. And then from an enterprise monitoring analytics space, how do we help clients know when there's an application issue or a problem in a business process workflow before that issue actually impacts end users? And so that's a big focus of ours, especially here as we've launched our enterprise monitoring analytics business earlier this year. And then how does all that fit into the service management and service catalog? So as we talk about cloud, we always really share to clients and to our partners, cloud's not a place, it's a set of disciplines. And we really believe that, doesn't matter where the data is at, but how do you have that cloud-like capability of self-service, self-healing, self-automating, no matter where that data is at. And so that's a big focus for us. So if you haven't seen this before, happy to share more detail with you in the future, but just want to kind of put that in context. Some of the things that Ed is going to talk today about around storage, around software defined, around data management, around artificial intelligence, AI ops, really goes across the entire spectrum here. So IBM is one of our longest term partners, and I'm happy to have Ed here today. If you haven't had the pleasure of hearing from Ed before, let me do a little bit of a background for you. Ed is the General Manager of Storage and Software Defined Infrastructure at IBM. In that role, he leads a global team responsible for all facets of the storage and software-defined business at IBM, including strategy, architecture, operations, technology and product development, and then overall financial and P&L performance. Ed's got more than 25 years of senior management experience within public, private, venture-backed firms across the storage and data management, data protection industry. Ed has served as CEO at 4 different organizations, including Catalogic Software, Storerise, Virtual Iron, and Avamar. So he is no stranger to the market, no stranger to what challenges clients and organizations are facing, and brings a unique perspective. Ed holds an undergraduate degree from the University of Massachusetts and an MBA from MIT, where he currently serves on the MIT Sloan Advisory Board. So please help me in joining Ed. And I would say as you have questions throughout Ed's presentation, feel free to put those into the Q&A box, and we will join at the end of the session. We'll join for a live Q&A and get through as many questions as we've got time for here. So again, thanks for joining us, and please welcome Ed.
Thanks, Bo. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the intro. But also maybe a loop back to evolving solutions, right? So we just got this IDC report that looked at what clients are looking for from vendors. Of course, 5 different key points, and we ranked #1 in all 5. The real reason for that is our partnerships with people like Evolving. Every time I'm out with Evolving with our clients, we're really helping people move forward with their journeys. And it's that real partnership in involving what you bring to the table with us that allow us, our clients, to do that and do that very successfully. So one, we're proud of that stat, but also we know without Evolving, we couldn't be doing that. So thank you very much. But without further ado, let me jump right in.
Now, I get asked a lot about what's the strategy, the competitive differentiation for IBM Storage and why we're doing so well. And one of the strategic differentiators for IBM Storage is that we're part of IBM. We get to see fundamentally different view of the world than a traditional storage company. And I've worked at other storage companies. This experience really informs our investments. It really manifests itself into our offerings in a differentiated way. And I hope you see that as I go through the presentation. So IBM helps our clients move forward, and we kind of meet you where you are in your cloud and AI journey. We are simultaneously an infrastructure firm and a storage company. We're also the largest IT outsourcer in the world, #1 in analytics, top consulting company, security or cloud company. So we get different in I would say, a more holistic view of our clients' challenges as they have their own journeys. So you may look at some of the offerings, and I get this every now and then. Hey, Ed, that's not storage. Why are you doing that? Tools around DevOps automation or data scientist productivity or cyber resiliency or cyber incident response. Well, we see this client problem differently. We're the #1 outsourcer in the world. We see these issues directly. I'm referring to cyber resiliency and others, but we see it. So we know it's critical, where maybe some of our competitors just know it's an issue. I mean, we experience it just like you do every single day. And that's why it's top priority. So let's jump right in. Just like IBM Storage really engages our clients and helps them with their own digital transformation journeys, right? And it is a journey. All our clients are really building a smarter business using AI and embedding it everywhere. In fact, all workloads, as well as specialized workloads around machine learning and deep learning. But really the idea is to embed AI everywhere and how it, inside out, working with clients, but also using it on the inside to make your own processes, your own people as best they can, given AI capabilities. We also see people doing their own journey in the cloud, and it's a unique journey, and we want to meet you where you are to help you modernize and move forward. If you're in physical environments or virtualized environments like Hyper-V or VMware, or you're containerized already, or you're public cloud and you're working some hybrid, we can help you with your own journey and help you get from where you are now, and to really where you need to get to. Now for storage, we also really bring in cybersecurity and resiliency, and it becomes a key component of our portfolio because of some of the things we saw, especially because we're a large IT outsourcer. We see this really, and the tools you need and the solutions we're not seeing from other storage vendors, and you see it's a real focus to have the right cybersecurity and resiliency built into our entire portfolio. But this is really where we're putting investments. This is how we're engaging with our clients. And the key thing is we're helping you through this chapter 2 of digital transformation. Now, I might have to explain chapter 2 a little bit. So maybe let's talk about what chapter 1 is, right? So people have been modernizing their environment for a while and on their own cloud journeys. But chapter 1 was largely, we saw people doing a couple things, right? But one was they're doing a lot of lift and shift. They were taking to migrate workloads and just do a lift and shift into the cloud to get cloud economics. And largely the challenge here, people didn't see the TCO that they really want to. They got a little locked in, but they weren't using the cloud native capability. So they didn't see a lot of the agility either. We also saw people innovating and building truly new cloud native applications, largely to go after the engagement with the clients and have that new engagement and customization per clients, right? But we saw for people that have system of record, systems that they're running their business on, they need to integrate those with the right security, the right governance, and those become challenges and kind of held them back from getting the most out of everything they're trying to do. So we see if chapter 2 is a major shift. In fact, I don't know a CIO would talk to that their #1 priority is not enterprise digital transformation, really modernizing their existing applications as well as working in the context of a hybrid multi-cloud. But updating using containers and microservices is what we see, but also the industry seems to really focus on doing that because you can modernize the applications once and deploy anywhere on any cloud, either on-prem or any public cloud. But also now you can innovate wherever you want from all those different platforms, all the way to the edge, back to the core data center, and anywhere in between. and you're not getting the same lock-in. So we see, and that's where you see a large emphasis of what we're doing Red Hat and OpenShift Cloud Platform. But what we're able to do is modernize, and that's the difference of chapter 2, which is right now, is we're helping, and all our investments are going to help our clients through this particular part of the journey and make sure our portfolio have the right investments to help you move that in the smoothest way possible. So you have a look at our portfolio. We're second largest storage company in the world, right? So, but we focus in 4, I would say, solution offering sets. So it's products, but also what we do around the offering sets to help our clients out. One is around storage for hybrid multi-cloud. This would be our distributed storage. Storage if you're physical or virtual or container or public cloud or hybrid cloud. And our solution sets for software-defined environments, and we also make appliances in that case. Storage for Z, this is for mainframe computers. Very unique, ultra-low latency, high throughput capabilities, and security and resiliency become top-notch, and we'll talk about what we do for storage for Z. Cyber resiliency and modern data protection. We've been in data protection since the beginning of time. We've always been a leader and still are number 2 in the world. But also, it's not just about backup and recovery and archiving. The idea of how do you recover after cyber, be cyber resilient, but then as much, how do you deal with cyber incident response? At time of boom, you use a left of boom prepare, and boom, they got you. How do you give your teams the right tools so you can consistently, under pressure, come back? And then last but not least is storage for data and AI. This is when you're building out, we're going to put AI in every workload across the environment, but this is for specific environments, large data lakes, but also when you're using machine learning, deep learning capabilities, this is where you're putting all your data or your AI specific environments. And we have a portfolio that's second to none in that particular segmentation. So let me dive in one at a time and give you a little detail. But the one I want to do first is storage for hybrid multi-cloud, which is really, again, our distributed storage. So if you're running physical environments, Linux, VMware, Hyper-V, what we do in our power environments, but also if you're containerized or you do some public cloud and you want a hybrid environment, this is what our portfolio is for you. Now, when we looked at this environment, especially when I got here, 4 years ago, it really was about, we need to make it more simple. And then chapter 2 is about freeing up your team, but simplify without compromise. And I love this Albert Einstein quote: everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. It can't lose its essence. It's not a meets minimum. It's everything you need, but it should be made as simple as possible. And we really took that to heart. Because when you looked at the environment, and this is everyone, including us at that point, everyone, the entire storage industry is about more and more and more. And by the way, more is not better. More is worse in a lot of cases because of complexity. All the storage vendors, including us, no longer, but everyone, the whole structure of the industry was there's high-end storage arrays with customized silicon and software that give you the scalability, functionality, it's the performance, the availability, and you paid a premium for that. And then you have the low end, which, well, doesn't do any of that. And then there's something in between called a mid-range platform. And the entire industry is based upon, almost all of our clients have multiple, they're not high-end or low-end shop. They do, to be honest, they do a little of all. And what we do is we focus, the whole industry is if you're a high-end application set and you're a high-end storage solution, we get you to the next generation high-end solution. Same thing with next gen. In fact, one of the social media platform campaigns going on right now for the last 6 months from one of my competitors is hashtag next gen mid-range storage, right? It's like, it's ingrained in us. But here's the thing, even from one vendor, you have at least 3, if not a lot more, but then you have multiple vendors. So each platform adds a lot of complexity. In the past, it didn't bother you as much, right? You have storage people, they know this, but each one's different to manage, different to troubleshoot. You have to know those platforms. They're different software, there's different APIs, there's different automation. There's also different automation requirements, but you have to automate it and different APIs. But also now you're talking about modernizing, going to cloud. Whew, now you have all these different things. It's a challenge because they all do it differently. So we can give you as an industry more innovation, but you pay the price and complexity and costs in your environment. So we're saying no more. Literally no more. And what we announced in our portfolio is one platform, one software platform. We did a lot of investment in the last 4 years to bring us to this point, but one platform that gives you enterprise storage made simple, but also without compromise. We can help you in the low end, mid range, and the high end without compromise and help you on all those different price points. But I'll come back to this, but I got to cover a couple of things. So, hey, Ed, how did you say the high end need custom silicon is different software? So how do you do that? Well, we did some fundamental, innovation here that we had to do to get here. So in order to do the high end performance, you do need customized silicon, and we had our own. We have the FlashCore module is a 2U device that was a lowest latency, highest performance, better resiliency environment. But what we did is take that same technology and we take the same silicon and we put it onto what looks like a single NVMe SSD. In fact, all our platforms can use industry standard SSDs, but also can use our FlashCore module devices, which look like an SSD, but they have this custom silicon that gives you ultimate low latency, high bandwidth, but also gives you inline compression and dedupe, which allows you to do a lot of things. And they're priced the same as industry standard devices. But this one innovation allows us to give you the performance of the high end like you've never seen from anyone else. In fact, let's go through a couple things. Latency, lower is better. So we give you 70 microsecond access. All of our competitors, the biggest bragging rights in the industry, are using 100 microseconds, and it's pretty consistent across it. We're 30% faster. We're servicing your IOs 30% faster. Now, we can do that on the high end, but also we can do it in the 9200. We can also do flash system 7200 mid-range, but also our entry level 5100. In fact, we can do it for the high and low end and surprise you on low side, but you lose nothing, no compromise on the high end. Same thing with bandwidth. We talked about analytics going in all workloads, but bandwidth becomes a big requirement there. Everyone in the industry is kind of where I'm going to highlight Pure, but in general the same, somewhere in the teens. Pure is at 18 gigabytes a second. Our base box, even on the low end, 45 gigabytes a second. You can cluster them together, 180 gigabyte systems in one system. Again, 10x more, but really even the base. The other thing, IOPS per second, even against the biggest and baddest custom silicon boxes that you can find from EMC, 2 racks, we can actually have more IOPS per second, but also any comparison to performance, but also economics or rack space, it's just not a comparison whatsoever. So we're able to give you this platform without compromising the high end, but also bring those capabilities into the mid-range and low end and let you mix and match them. But we're also made these systems simple. Now we're going to simplify by not having 3 environments. We're going to have 1, and then just give you configurations to hit those different price points for you. But it makes it simple, but also make it simple to manage that environment, simple to monitor, consistent operational view, either in a web-based SaaS application that's free or software you can run on-prem, give it health, capacity, performance, but also easy to support. 3 clicks, support your logs. It's also, we're monitoring this environment through Call Home and using analytics. So 66% of issues get resolved on their own. But being able to do this, it makes it easier that you don't have to know the platform. It's 3 clicks is the most technical you have to be in order to understand this and do it. But also make it easy for you to configure best practices. So we look at all our environments, but we use machine learning and look at these environments and look at your environment and give you suggestions of best practice that you should look at given your environment and given what we're seeing across all environments. Again, you don't have to be the ultimate specialist on that platform. We're going to help you do that by using AI, and this is standard in the technology. But this allows us an environment to say, no more. Let's get rid of this cost and complexity. Let's give you the innovation. But we're going to make storage made simple for the enterprise, but without compromise. These systems are just simply fast. Again, I show you the high level. No one touches us. They're simply efficient, which comes down to, in the end, purchase price. Simple, resilient. These are enterprise code sets, so it allows you to do, mirroring, but of course it allows you to do 2-site, 3-site, HA, hyperswap environments. Again, on the low end, mid-range, and high-end type technology. But we're also cyber resilient, which is different. We give you special tools. First in the industry, we don't see anyone else doing this. So when you do have a cyber instance, we use the term boom. Before you protect yourself, boom, they got you. The right of the boom, you're under pressure. We give you the right tool set so you're able to use your storage environment to have advanced cyber incident response capabilities. these systems also should be simple, but simple without compromise, simple to configure, monitor, support, secure, go to the cloud, any cloud, scale, tier, and that's a key thing in this platform. But again, key innovation we're doing, I think more people in the industry will do this, but this is going to take them a little bit to do, but we think we're kind of leading this, and this is what we're seeing from our clients is required for Chapter 2, free up your team so they can innovate across your environments. So the next one, which I'm equally excited about, is storage for Z, and this is for a mainframe. And the mainframe environment is very unique. Just the scale, the performance, the number of transactions, the availability just required and expected, all the security, all the special integrations, right? We're the #1 storage for mainframe environments, period, both disk and what can do in tape and archive. DS8900, which is all flash array, and our TS7700, which is a virtual tape library. These interop together, but also you can use this and also cloud storage to do tiering. But 9 out of top 10 banks use this technology for the mission critical environments. We have over 25 different advanced capabilities integrated by design with the Z. The reason we're #1 in this space by a long shot is we just give you the fastest period, most reliable period, and secure storage system for the IBM Z. I couldn't be that clear, but also allow you to do all the cloud native things. Now you're able to do containers and OpenShift platform and DevOps directly on the Linux partitions of the Z. Again, doing all that cloud native applications directly next to your mission critical data. That's really powerful. We enable all that in our environment. We allow you encryption everywhere. So encrypted at rest, in flight, between the system and the storage, between that and the tape arrive, between locations, and actually archiving out to the cloud if you so choose. But also have specific cyber resiliency capabilities, a unique solution set that allows you to have over 500 different unique recover points that have been separated management-wise to protect them in case of either external, like malware, ransomware, or internal threats, because what we've done in management to allow you to recover in a safe way. So for a cyber incident response advance, no one else in the industry has that. Again, from our view, this becomes critical both here, and I'll show you what we're doing in open systems as well. But it gives you the flexible storage, and that's why we're #1 when it comes to storage for a Z space. So the other environment is cyber resiliency and modern data protection. Oh, he's going to talk about data protection. Listen, data protection might be boring some, but it's really at the core. We've been a leader in data protection since the very beginning of the industry, and we've been modernizing along the entire way. In fact, we built for simplicity, brand new refresh the platform, agentless architecture, end-to-end automation, allows you to all the different rapid recovery, doing snapshot recovery, but also recover from tape and from disk, and also from snapshots. We also have all the unique integrations that you really require for things like SAP HANA, Office 365, and the different online. So really modern, rapid data recovery.
Now, it's hard to talk about data growth and the data analytics and people's journeys to the cloud without talking about SAP HANA, which is one of those critical use cases for a lot of our clients. I'm lucky to be joined here with Vicente Maranta, who is a Vice President of Enterprise Linux for Power, and we've done a lot of things together with SAP HANA for our clients. But Vicente, welcome. Thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's Well, maybe to set you up, and I'm just let you roll, but what are you seeing with SAP HANA? I know we have a lot of momentum, but maybe you give you just a status of how things are right now in the market.
Yeah. So as you know, with COVID-19, a lot of clients have been tentative, have been thinking about their projects and all of that. I think from an SAP perspective, what we're seeing is actually that despite COVID-19, a lot of customers are still moving forward, maybe with different timelines. In some cases, accelerating because they need those HANA projects done quickly to help with some of the COVID-19 situations that are happening. But it's really kind of, it's still moving forward. Lots of great momentum, great customer examples, great value that we're able to provide to customers. And removing uncertainty really is the big thing right now. Removing uncertainty from the project itself.
And you can really see these, they're super critical. That's why they still continue going no matter what, but also you're right, the whole reduce the risk and get the right environment. So maybe just to remind everyone, can you just, what's the biggest, SAP HANA with Power is such a great combination, but maybe you just refresh us. What's the big secret here of why it's so good together?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we did 5 years ago when we started with HANA and Power was focus on what was missing in the market. Instead of just trying to be like everybody else, what was missing in the market? What were things that customers were trying to do but couldn't? And to us and to the customers, the clients that have been working with us, what was very, very clear was that they were missing a way to do HANA, unleashing the capabilities of HANA with virtualization, being able to do more HANA projects with less investment on hardware, being able to do HANA with less uncertainty about how many terabytes I need or how many servers I need to buy, how much storage I need to buy up front, and being able to adapt to the changes that many HANA projects have. So that flexibility is really kind of our focus. Our hypervisor capability with Power VM on the Power side has been critical to the success that we have had so far and continues to be as we go forward with our next innovations.
Yeah, no, I hear constantly the flexibility and just what you're talking about, the ability to virtualize, and just like what we did with VMware years, it's so you think it's straightforward, but it's actually hard to do, and that's where it's differentiated. So I hear, just true excitement from people about the flexibility there, and then the resiliency, which is, let's face it, this is mission critical as they all come. Client value is absolutely critical. Let's look at one right now.
Military everywhere is under pressure to cut down on its expenditures. We have to run more efficient and have less administrators, less bureaucracy, and more fighting power, more material. And to do that, we need more intelligent ways to use our technology. Every day there's a meeting many places in the defense. It is our goal to make sure that the data they have are accurate, up to date, a solid foundation for their decision making. When we began our journey to SAP HANA, we realized that we needed to upgrade our hardware. We are in a position where our data centers are pretty small and we were actually running out of capacity. And if we were going to scale out, we would face a complete rebuild of server locations. We were looking for something that we could manage in an easy way. We have some very strict expectations about reliability and availability to make sure that our military operations can run smoothly and safely. And we know that HANA is very data intensive. IBM Power Systems was the right choice for us. The Danish Defense is about to exchange our F-16 fighters for F-35 fighters. Doing that, we need to run a lot of reports in our ERP system. We calculated that it would take 37 hours to run the report. When we tested the report on a new system, it ran in just 2 hours. Running SAP HANA on IBM Power Systems means increase our capability of be able to analyze the data in our system. To be able to create data real time instead of tomorrow. By moving our BW to HANA instead of a traditional database, its response times more than 1,000% faster than they used to be. We need less people to maintain our database. That means again that we can support our troops at home and abroad in a much better way.
Wow. By the way, we have hundreds of these value props, right? So we see it consistently. So, but Vicente, maybe what's coming up? What's next with Power with SAP HANA?
Yeah, no, and you're right. We have hundreds and hundreds of these and great customer references and everybody willing to take calls with other clients, by the way. So yeah, for what's coming up is this week is probably super exciting. We have IBM Cloud making both Power and IBM Storage available in the IBM Cloud for SAP HANA, fully certified by SAP, fully certified with IBM Cloud. So customers who are looking to do deployments that are hybrid are now going to have the option. You don't have to trade off technology. You don't have to really have a debate about on-premises or off-premises. You get the same technology on either side. So that's going to be very exciting. And then, as we move forward, Evolving Solutions is a great partner for both Power and IBM Storage. We've been collaborating for many, probably decades. If anybody in the audience is looking forward or looking to continue deploying their HANA project, wants to take a look at what we would be able to do together from an Evolving Solutions and an IBM perspective, we would love the chance, and we would work very closely with everybody involved.
By the way, you couldn't hear because you're probably in the green room, but literally I raved about Evolving Solution the same way to open up. So, okay, Vicente, thank you very much for joining us with Evolving here today. Thank you for the time. As always, very informative. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed. Anytime.
We're also focused on cyber resiliency. And the only reason we're focused on this differently is our experience is it's fundamentally differently to come back from an operational recovery, a DR situation, a server down than cyber resiliency. You need different tools. You need to be able to do more advanced ways for advanced cyber incident response. And by the way, the industry gives us kudos for this, right? So, this is an IDC quote by Phil Goodwin, which is great, but you can see IBM provides the most cyber resilient storage solutions in the world, from what we do back in recovery, but also all we do for all our primary storage across our entire portfolio. The other thing is we see this, and we're trying to make it really simple for you to understand your stance, get in a better position, but also keep you in that position throughout the time. So we made it very simple with we use lab services. And by the way, this is a really good way to use a new abnormal. We can do this over the phone, WebEx. It's a lot about understanding what you're doing, and then we're understanding and telling you what you can do and the benefits of different ways to go about it. We can give a recommended solution, a project roadmap. We can come and implement it, and then you have an independent person look at how you're doing things, make sure you're covering all the bases. But we can also come in every 6 months, every year, and do a review and a post-deployment health checks. which again, our whole thing is if you can be prepared, left the boom, and have the right tools for post-boom, you're in the best possible light. And that's as a partner what we want to do. And we're leading the industry in this particular regard. And again, a great use of a little bit of this, I guess the new normal, and we can do this all remote to help you. So when you come out, you have a good game plan. And then last but not least is storage for data and AI. And this is, listen, AI is going to be in every workload. It just is. You're going to see DBAs deploying AI and they're going to have special requirements. But this is when you're building out a specific data lake, or you're trying to do a specific machine learning or deep learning context using GPUs in different ways. Or it's your data scientists. So in these environments, very unique environments and different type of tool sets than traditional storage. And in this particular case, where no one else compares to us, and I know that sounds like a braggart, but literally all the largest, AI-driven supercomputers in the world use our storage. And they do it for very specific reasons. We're screamingly fast, massively scalable, start small, 2U, scale it to the terabytes a second capabilities, but also they use this for other things, right? It's about open and adaptable, all the different frameworks that you need to use, because your data scientists are going to use a whole bunch of different open source stuff, and we're constantly keeping up with that. And also improve data science productivity. We have tools, metadata, how to tag data that allows you to work across your portfolio, but allows them to be better organized, because this is where a lot of the work, and I'm going to go through an example. This is one of the things you say, that's not storage, but it really is. If you're looking at an environment, this can hold you back dramatically from getting the insights. And then that's a big thing. IBM, not just IBM storage, we help our clients kind of see a consistent. We as IBM, we see people in their own journeys to AI. And we use a term, there's no AI without IA. There's no AI without information architecture. Because we do see people struggling. We see different data scientists doing, I like to use the term random acts of AI, and they never seem to come together. So you get little bright spots, but hard for organizations and enterprises to bring it together and fuse it in their environments. Because each of the different persons, their data scientists will collect data, organize data, analyze data. They spend a lot of time to do that. And there is a process, we use the term ladder of AI. You're able to understand this, take the steps one by one, but once you get there, how do you now infuse this across your whole enterprise? Instead of having a random act of AI, how do you bring it together? You get one view of the truth and one way that's repeatable. And the data scientists can feed off the data sets of others. And we can help you understand that, how to not get in the way of data scientists, but show a path forward so they don't hit roadblocks that are, to be honest, quite easy to anticipate, to be quite honest.
My group mission is to reach out to scientists and engage them with their application to use high-performance computing. And application means science. So we work with scientists in different domains, multiple domains, starting from aspect of wildfire propagation, prediction, mitigation, and one aspect, for example, that is quite relevant in wildfires propagation is aspect of soil moisture and how the soil moisture impact the propagation. So one of the projects we are working with look at how to integrate aspect of soil moisture with wildfire simulations. And in that context, there is a combination of traditional simulation and data analytics. You have a satellite collecting information on soil moisture every 24 hours. It goes on for years. And so you have this huge amount of data that are imperfect. And it is something that is collected, but somehow the data need to be analyzed. HPC today and machine learning, AI, enable us to identify those patterns and extract the knowledge. Without HPC, I'm afraid AI would be still in its infancy. Theoretically, fantastic result. Practically, would have been like without the power to transform the theory into practice. It was important for me that my students have access to platforms that are cutting edge. So the Elastic Storage is where we gather our data. the data are generated, analyzed at the same time, and then the knowledge extracted by the data is re-injected into the simulation. Our Power 9 cluster allow us exactly to do that, because a combination of GPU, CPU, and interconnect that are very powerful allow us to run molecular dynamics simulation and analyze the trajectory that are generated at runtime and extrapolate knowledge at runtime. So IBM is for us an enabler. It enables us to learn and understand how to further improve our analytic algorithm.
If you think of AI, they're going to do data lake, machine learning, deep learning, setting up neural nets. They really stretch the capabilities of infrastructure, especially storage. First step is they're always ingesting data, collecting data, and you want to put it in a whole bunch of different data sources. The key thing is to keep it, but also cost effectively keep it, right? We'll go through that in a second. Then is a data scientist or business scientist organizing data, cataloging, tagging it. This is where 80% of the data scientist's work is, just because if you don't have clean data, you don't really get the right outcome. So this is really important, but this is where we're focused on tool sets. But then it becomes high performance. It goes from being really big, scalable, and let's make it cost effective to now has to be the fastest thing you can possibly imagine. And this is using custom silicon like GPUs to really go after the data. And again, very different from an infrastructure perspective. And then infuse, you're kind of building environments. Now you're deploying the AI. Now its latency is almost like a database workloads. And it comes into also the governance around that. But this is iterative in nature. And where it really stretches the storage and what we provide is each one of those silos are typically different storage and very manual to move data between them, different organizations. But what we do is basically help you. Storage makes simple for data AI is one AI platform, Spectrum for AI, and allows you to literally bring in different tool sets. So as you collect data, you're able to come to the file system or object storage. We can also tier that to object storage, cloud storage, or tape, but we'll allow you to keep it very cost effective in data lake environments. Then as you're organizing it, and that's where, again, a lot of the time of the data scientist. So we have this product called Spectrum Discover, which allows you to metadata, allows you to tag data more efficiently, allows you to look at all across all of our storage, and it's a great tool for data scientists, dramatically making them more productive in this particular phase. But then also in the same environment, without moving the data, now you can go to analyze. Now you can drive the GPU's performance. So you're bringing in, again, these GPUs can drive at 150 gigabytes a second. We talked about traditional storage doesn't do this. This is a scale-out file system, allows you to go at terabytes a second. So you're able to keep up with as you try to build those out. And then you bring a lot of things in main memory and chunk it up. But the storage needs to keep up with this. But again, and then you infuse it. So one platform with the right tools that you're able to have one data lake that uses it, using all the right open source technologies, allow you to quickly get into production, but more importantly, scale as you infuse this across the enterprise. Now, we also let you start small, try to make it simple, because these start small, they end up big real fast. So we can show you the architecture we deploy for the largest AI supercomputers in the world. Same technology, we can give you a 2U device that's its own cluster, and without compromise, you can scale that out to the same architecture, same deployment, largest AI supercomputers in the world. Allow you to start small with our ESS electric storage system, ESS 3000, but you can go to the biggest things available and we can share it. But we allow you to start, but start an environment that doesn't hold you back as you get to the next point. And the same technology, either in software or in this hardware, is in, you've seen IBM make big announcements around our 5G edge computing. And really the data architecture there is using the same storage portfolio in software only, Spectrum Scale, or in our appliance or object storage, where Spectrum Discover allows you to go all the way from the edge, all the way into the cluster and gateways, into the centralized clouds, and it allows you to do it at a scale, but also cost effectively. Now, we get a lot of kudos. So this is from Forbes, pretty good article where Spectrum Storage AI is truly differentiated from its competitors, right? A level of scalability that is nearly unmatched by anyone in the industry, incredibly fast at scale, scales linearly, which it absolutely does, and an easy decision for enterprise buyers. But again, we're making it even easier by being able to start small and still get to these type of environments later, as you, trust me, you all will. All of our storage portfolio supports containers. IBM, and you're going to see this because we see our clients doing this, containers enable digital transformation. It's one of the big reasons we acquired Red Hat. But we allow you to, using containers and Kubernetes, you're allowed to build once. If you're going to modernize your application, modernize it on containers in Kubernetes, build once, and then you can deploy it anywhere. Literally natively deploy in any cloud out there or on premises. Then you can really innovate anywhere, right? With anyone's technology and data sets, but also you can move freely. So you don't get a lock-in, you can optimize. Typically, if you go to any mono cloud, and we use the term multi-cloud, but mono-cloud, you can optimize in any particular public cloud, but then you're kind of stuck there. By doing it in true containers with OpenShift and Kubernetes, you're able to do now, build once and deploy, innovate anywhere. And you're going to see us really drive a hybrid multi-cloud platform based upon our IBM Cloud Packs, which I'll go through in a second, on a consistent foundation, fully tested of the OpenShift cloud platform. And it runs on any infrastructure, including my storage. And my storage environments support this natively today across my entire portfolio. However, a lot of this is a software-only deployment. You can put it on clouds. You can also put it in your own environment, but it's software deployed. So what we have is all of our storage products are software SDS, software-defined storage. We also allow you to put into storage arrays to make it convenient to acquire small, medium, large, but it's all SDS. And that's, we're number one in software-defined storage. So we make it easy. So if you're doing Cloud Packs, which allows you to have a set of software fully tested end-to-end, including OpenShift with Kubernetes, which is a huge value, you think about it, but we allow you to add things like enterprise backup or restore capabilities for production, because it might start as something in the corner, but it quickly becomes mission critical in chapter 2. And you're going to need the same protection, the same archive, the same resiliency, the same cyber resiliency you have in production. You're going to need it here. And we're able to do that today across all these different environments, include anything OpenShift or Red Hat or Kubernetes. But also we allow you to do just buy a single license for software-defined storage. Both, it includes all the storage that we talked about today and deploying your own hardware in the cloud, but also all of Red Hat software. So it allows you to deploy one part number, allows you to start deploying whichever one makes sense. You start small. As it becomes production, you need more different type of storage technology that gives you the replication or different type of capabilities, performance, scale, or resiliency. And you don't have to throw away any investment. 100% investment protection allows you to go for the different things. And again, you're enabled and you're, to be honest, licensed to go across all the storage software from IBM and also from Red Hat. Makes it very simple. And of course, this is fully tested with Kubernetes and Red Hat. And I think that's a huge value. So we're making it simple. Because when it comes to containers, where we really help is a lot of times containers start small in little departments, but it quickly becomes mission critical and it quickly scales. And it's like overnight, people are kind of, whoa, I didn't know that was going to come from that business unit, right? What we bring is enterprise data services to containers, either the right protection and resiliency, but also what we can do in storage and all things you expect in mission critical, the right snapshot capability, the right backup capability, the right resiliency locally, 2-site, 3-site capabilities, going to the public cloud. Those are all things we could do across it, and it works across our entire portfolio, as well as our software-defined portfolio. So as you're looking at containers, try to think 1 or 2 steps ahead, and we can help you so that you don't hit any glitches as you get down this new direction. And we're trying to make sure we have the right portfolio to systems that are simple to, work with, but also simple to acquire. And we want to partner through it. And one thing is how people are looking at a journey to their cloud. And some people are buying technology on-prem or in the cloud or subscription, or they're leasing equipment. But we also have the ability to invest in the industry utility programs that allow you to buy hardware, software, and only pay for what you use, up and also down. Allows you to do that as a utility model. We also have a subscription model for software, but also software and hardware. So everything I talked about, you can do in a subscription model, where this is for, if you're somebody, you're helping with my cloud journey. I know it's better if I modernize my storage infrastructure so I can kind of free my team up, but if I'm going to be in the cloud 18 months, I don't want to upgrade it now, even though it'll make it easier, but the fact of the matter, I can't do that. We give you a subscription. We'll bring the hardware software in, allow you to free up your team, get the best out of it. But then let's say 16 months into it, you call us because there's no long-term commitments, cancel anytime. You're able to call us and say, listen, I just moved to the cloud. Thanks for all the help. It was great to have the right infrastructure, but come pick it up. And we'll come pick it up and your bill goes to 0 the very next day.
I hope that made sense. Now we're going to open up for live Q&A with us and also the Evolving Solutions team, which is always the best part of the presentation.
Thank you, Ed, and appreciate you taking us through that again today, and we appreciate you joining us. And I know we had a couple questions in the chat, so just want to let you know, I know there was a few, the joys of our virtual world with technology. I know there were a few choppy videos. The originals weren't great, so what we'll do is make sure that those get posted in the replay in the that we post out in the next couple days. Oh, no problem. It's the joys of WebEx, right? So we'll make sure those get posted, and in a couple of days we'll send a replay out, and you'll see the replay, the videos, and then Ed's PowerPoint charts. So you've got those as well. So, and I'll just remind everyone, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. We've got about 6 or 7 minutes here, and we'll try to get to as many as possible. So Ed, a few came in here, several actually came in here during the call. So one, you mentioned the cloud native tasks on the DS8900 for IBM mainframe, IBM Z. Is the same capability there for IBM I? I know we have some larger IBM I clients that leverage the DS8000. Is the same value story there as well?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways to leverage the cloud, but in each and every one you can do vaulting. You can also do the sharing between the tapes. So what we should do is go through that. It is a little bit different for iSeries given the use cases, but we give you ability to use the public cloud for some storage options. The key thing is, can you take your existing environment and get some benefits in a real use case out of public cloud? So we should go through that with specifics. So especially if you have a particular name, we can follow up and make sure we get what are the use cases on I specifically, right? So.
Perfect. Yeah. So if anyone has
the design, so what we'll do is every one of the platforms we're trying to say, what's a real use case? Let's go put a blueprint together. Let's go test it and make sure that our customers can do it. So it's going to be a little bit of evolving, but I think that's what our clients wants to do. Hey, what can I do now? What can I do in the future? And then how do I map that out? So we can do that with your whoever brought it up. So
perfect. Another one came in. You mentioned storage insights. So somebody asked, can you elaborate more on the capabilities of the tool set?
Oh, sure. Okay, so Storage Insights is our way to give you two things. One is a better experience from support, right? So basically all your call home data comes in, one directional. We run a big, probably it's a huge data warehouse, data lake in the background. We're running analytics against this. And so we're doing a couple of things. We're trying to, one, resolve things before they have an issue. So 2/3 of the support things were resolved without needing you to call us. Not that we're dialing back in, but some things you can, look at different errors and it's not something you have to worry about, or you do. So it gives us a great support view that we're using in the background. So one is we're just going to give you better support with you doing nothing. Now, on the client side, you can do a couple things. One, for support, it's very easy, literally 3 clicks, because sometimes with a bigger issue, we'll say, hey, can you send us the logs? And it gets a little bit, you have to go take the logs and do, and you say this is simple, but I've heard clients say, literally, you've changed my life as a storage administrator, which I don't know if it's changing their lives, right? But basically 3 clicks, or you can set it up automatically that the system itself collects all the logs and sends them to your support engineer so they have it all in the system. So those would be support, but it's one, freeing you up, but also maybe you don't have to train your team as much on every single platform, right? So it's all, everything we're trying to do is free up and give you more time to your team. And the other thing it gives you is a fantastic portal that you can go to do performance, configuration, availability, look at your trouble tickets, but it gives you kind of storage management and in a robust manner, right? So we also allow you to, it's free, it's part of being under support, but there's also a pro version. You can do capacity planning, all the things that you're used to from, basically Spectrum Control, which is on-premises storage management. And by the way, if you own Spectrum Control, we give you the Spectrum Pro, gratis, right? So, but the whole idea is, how do I use AI and your data to I give you a better experience, you have a better experience dealing with me, but then also you need all this data to run, and that's what we're going to, and basically that's what we provide kind of gratis. It's part of what I think going forward our clients are going to expect. Does that make sense? I mean,
it does. And you actually hit one of the other questions that came in. It was pretty simple. It said, you said 66% of issues get resolved. How? And I think you just answered that right in your last question. You just answered that as well.
and then we're getting better and better. So I wish, well, if you have time, if you ever want to, we can take your team, maybe it's a different follow-up, because it's a free tool. So listen, if you're on our storage, this is just, it's yours, right? So if we can do an education, maybe it's amazing what you have at your fingertips, but you have to spend a little time understanding the tool, right? So.
Yep. And we've got a lot of expertise internally. We're actually leveraging it for our facility, and then several clients have given us access. So it's been helpful as we've been trying to figure out, as folks are moving to newer technology, using some of the data there to make sure that we're right-sizing them for what's next.
Well, especially just in the environment where sometimes you're more remote than you used to be, right? So being able to, hey, can you guys look at this, and you get the same access to the data, kind of how you're doing it. That's also, think about a whole bunch of different situations that you need it, right? So,
yep.
Good.
We got 2 minutes here, so let's try and get through a couple here real quick. You mentioned a cyber resiliency storage assessment. Any idea on the average kind of time for a client for us to engage there, they asked?
Yeah, so it's largely a questionnaire. So here's the thing: if you sit down with the right person, they ask you a lot of questions. Depending upon your answer, you say, hey, you're exposed or not, and then here's a remediation that you can do. So we can do it remote, is a couple hours on the phone, but it's typically what happens. We ask some questions, you don't have the answers, and that becomes a back and forth. But it's not necessarily heavy, but it's with the right people in front of you to get the right questions. What are you doing? And then we can say, here's your exposure and here's the remedy. And sometimes it's just tweaking. Sometimes it's like, well, you need a third copy that's been isolated. Sometimes you get the point, but it's pretty lightweight and we can do it remote. We're also, this methodology, hey, we'll provide, evolving, you're completely, available to you. What we're trying to do is get our clients, our mutual clients, in the best possible state they can be, because cyber is getting worse now. It's maybe the hackers are staying at home more, right? I don't know, right? But so
there's unfortunately been enough.
Every client, if you do this, it's worth a couple hours. It really is, to get a sense of. It might give you 1 or 2 ideas. It might give you a lot more than that. But and then just engage with evolving, and we'll help you.
Awesome. And then last question here in our last minute: is IBM's container support on storage based on or require OpenShift, or is any container/Kubernetes distribution supported?
Any Kubernetes. You're going to do OpenShift first. Now, there's different distros. So we're CSI. So basically, it's an open interface that you can do, and it works on any Kubernetes. You can roll your own. Now, we'll tell you, maybe you don't roll your own. Let me help you. We'll show you a better way to do it. But any, but we do a lot of end-to-end testing with OpenShift, with all the cloud packs and storage. So there's a lot of reasons that OpenShift is going to be a first-class citizen and a good thing to go forward with. But yes, we support any container environment with CSI. Make sense?
Awesome. I know we're at the top of the hour, so apologize. We have 4 or 5 more questions here we didn't get through, but we'll try and circle back with those folks. And so, yeah, Ed, thank you again. We appreciate it. Appreciate your partnership with Evolving Solutions, and hope everybody stays safe. And thank you for the time, and have a great afternoon.
Hey, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Thank you all.